All right, big board is almost full, so we got to get a couple of more drafts here on Best Ball Breakfast. We got, of course, the Stefon Diggs trade shaking up the ADP board. We have NFL draft rumors heating up. Underdog also just launched the little board as well, so we'll dive into that. It's time for Best Ball Breakfast. Let's go. My slow draft rooms are so much different than my streamed drafts.
Does no one realize Underdog's half-point PPR? Idiots!
Damn, bro. You know ball. Hope you guys packed your bags.
I packed my bags. No, I mean, I literally packed my bags.
Dude, Star Method's legit. Only way to max out every contest in a plus EV way.
Week 17, you still gotta get there, bro.
We have a finite sample. We only have so much samples. Is it negative EV to stream all your drafts?
We just don't know.
GM all around. How are we doing? Hope you guys all had a great weekend. Joshua Frick, when is my UFC 300 show? I don't know if we are going to get to a UFC 300 show. The dirty secret, man, I go to bed early these days. I was very excited to watch some college basketball on, what was it? The women's Final Four. It was after I did Best Ball After Dark with Sam Hoppen on, was it Friday night? And that game was starting at 9:15. I tapped out at halftime. I tapped out. I also thought Iowa was toast in that game. They were shutting Caitlin Clark down. I woke up in the morning and had to watch a highlight package to figure out who won. So yeah, there's no way, Josh, I am able to stay up for a UFC card. I do see a comment earlier here in the chat, liking the new badges. That is correct. We got some new badges that are now rolled out on the site. It was Mookie in the chat, or sorry, in the Discord, had reminded me that some of you had now hit the 3-year milestone of being YouTube members on the channel. So I was like, all right, you're right. We need to get a new 3-year badge in there. And I decided to take that opportunity to refresh it. So you'll now see a 1, a 2, and a 3 if you've been here for those yearly milestones. Otherwise, if you got the P, it means you're on your way to getting one of those. Let's see. Playoff Rondo says, Pete, if you don't enter the big board, I'm unsubbing. If I don't max, oh, you can unsub right now. There's no way I'm maxing the big board. It was nice knowing you, Playoff Rondo. I've appreciated having you trolling in these drafts. Goodbye. Yeah, there's no way I'm maxing it. I tried that last year. I think I had like 75 done, and then I entered 75 slow drafts. It did not go well. It dominated my time and in a way that was unhealthy. So as I mentioned on a previous show, I think it was with Karain, it was like I basically could max the big board, or I could make a bunch of videos over on the Deposit Kingdom channel. And I have decided to make a bunch of videos for you guys. We're going to have a new one coming out this week. I'm super excited about it. Last week, I reviewed one of the drafts I did in the biggest board. That was a slow draft. And this time around, I am looking at the most polarizing players in fantasy football. So basically what I did is I compared 3 different ranking sets, ETR, Legendary Upside, and RotoViz, Sean Siegel's rankings, to try to find the most polarizing players. And I think you guys will enjoy that video. That should be dropping later this week on Thursday. So as always, make sure you guys are subscribed to the Deposit Kingdom channel. That's where all of those videos are going to live. The live streams will always remain here on this channel. That is the plug for the Deposit Kingdom there. And yeah, I am going to catch up on the chat. We got Chipsy loving the videos. Appreciate that. And only if they have a zoomer mouth open thumbnail. Yes, we balance our range with the thumbnail. Sometimes we hit them with the zoomer. Sometimes, we'll throw some players up on there. We're experimenting. We are experimenting over there. All right, I just hopped in a big board draft. I tipped those of you guys off in the Discord. Here we drew the 1-5, which is a spot that I have drafted in a ton this year. I think Jamar Chase still remains one of my most drafted first round players. We'll see what we get here. Jamar Chase, though, up to an ADP of 1-4. Looks like we have a lot of friends and family in this one. We got Biff, I recognize. We got M. Wolf, of course. We got Andy. We got Chess Liam. We got Princessa. Yeah, so all kinds of friends and family out for our first big board draft this morning. I have been doing a couple of Underdog Cardio Club drafts over the weekend, so I got a few reps in my belt, under my belt, and we'll see. Yeah, I think, we have some really interesting fallout from the Diggs trade. I think similar to what we've seen with some other stuff, it's still a bit of a slow moving ADP shift, just the way ADPs are so sticky. It can take a little while for those to catch up, so we can be on Stefon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell watch. And you know what? I have not been getting a ton of Bijan. This seems like a time to get my Bijan. It feels like the past few drafts I've done, like Bijan has gone 101 or 102. So we'll go ahead and get a Bijan share here. I think in my heart of hearts, man, it's really close between him and Breece. I did notice that both ADP wise and I have the leg up ranks in here. Bijan is now ahead of Breece. That must have pained Karain, by the way, to put Bijan just a slight tick ahead of Breece Hall. And now you get Breece Hall at 1.8. Rackham Willie, congratulations on the generational wealth of that value dip there. Let's see. We got Chief Smoke says we got an adjacent room as well. So we got some overflow rooms here this morning. We will be doing another draft here. We'll do a couple back-to-back drafts. Pete versus Liam is just like watching Kobe versus LeBron. Yeah, exactly. Liam, man, I've never seen someone like Liam is definitely good at his victory laps. His victory lap post Stefon Diggs trade as a validation of the Dalton Kincaid thesis was up there on the Mount Rushmore of Chess Liam victory laps. He told us to subscribe to his YouTube channel to find out the next big thing that he will unearth for us this year. I've subbed. I hope you guys have subbed. I can't wait to see which wide receiver the Bills draft in round 1 that Liam will go on to tout for us this year. We all wait with bated breath here. Mark Wolf, this is his last bullet. Thoughts on hard fades in a time box tourney? I'm 0% CMC for this. So, I mean, I guess every contest is time boxed in a way, but I don't necessarily consider the big board a time box. I guess when I use that definition, I'm more thinking of those smaller contests. Like I would consider the biggest board a time box contest because it's going to end up being up for what, like 2 to 3 weeks? I mean, the big board opened in January. So, I mean, we're going to be entering close to 4 months that the contest was open. Am I doing my math right? February, March, April, May. Yeah, almost 4 months. But to your point, I have no problem with hard fades in general. I do have a hard time fading any of these top players, specifically the top 7 or 8. I think if you want to include it, to Amon-Ra St. Brown, I basically just want to be even with the field or match whatever my draft slot is. Like if you want to say, hey, I'm going to have, 0% Austin Ekeler this year, that makes like a lot more sense to me. But when you know that CMC has that legendary upside, to me, that's a scary fade. But we've talked about this a lot throughout Best Ball Mania, right? I mean, it's all risk tolerance. It's all risk tolerance. If you think CMC is overpriced or you really prefer one of the wide receivers for structural reasons, then I don't think it's bad from a portfolio standpoint, as long as you understand what you're doing. I personally do not have the stones to full fade any of the top 7 or 8 guys because I think they're all capable of being the top overall scorer in 2024. And I just can't come up with a strong enough thesis. But Mark, I'm curious, what is your thesis for fading CMC there? David in the chat took Kincaid at 49 yesterday. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we're going to be on Kincaid watch in this draft. Malik Nabers going 18 to Liam. Okay. Liam's just engagement farming me now. Let's see. What do we want to do here? Bijan, top by ADP. We got JT, Devon Achane, Nico Diggs are the ones that are kind of sliding here. I will grab, let's see. We'll go just slightly ahead on ADP. We'll go Debo here. Brandon Ayuk went 15 to DW. As always, we get to see the great Debo Samuel versus Brandon Ayuk wars play out in these drafts. Is the Brandon Ayuk stuff now because we're all wish casting Brandon Ayuk to the Buffalo Bills? Is that what we're doing with this here? Chris Olave was staring at me there right in the face. Looks like Pat's slightly ahead of ADP on him. He does go at pick 22. It's so funny that like how it works. You know, Chris Olave is essentially going in the same spot he was last year. And last year he felt like such a sexy click. And this year he doesn't feel like that sexy of a click. I think he's a perfectly well priced there. He's just not as fun of a click there. So we do get to see the one hole Biff Tannen do the 2-3 turn double tap with the Nico Collins and Stefon Diggs. That was exactly what I floated when we did our stream with the Badge Bros last week. We drafted on Wednesday right after that trade had broke. And I thought we're going to see a ton of that from the 2-3, the Nico Collins, Steph Diggs. And then they'll come back and you'll take Stroud at the 4-5 turn. I think that is because this didn't open up until recently. I don't think it's going to be that chalky. But if like for Best Ball Mania, I bet we're going to see a ton of the CMC, Nico, Diggs, Stroud with 4 of the first 5 picks. That is honestly one of the fun things about that big trade happening this late into the contest is knowing that you can now get some really unique combos with Nico Collins that you couldn't get before. Let's see here. I don't really want to take Josh Allen. I think, do I just want to buy the dip on, we got Rashee Rice dipping a little bit here. We'll take Rice. Rashee Rice was obviously in the news last week. I guess I'm not buying the dip. His ADP has now moved to 35 and I took him at 29. But it was buying the dip on where he had been going for the majority of this contest. I saw, Rashee Rice now working with authorities there. Lots of people on Twitter trying to figure out what 10 ounces versus 10 grams of weed means. That was a rollicking good time. But based on what I've seen, it doesn't seem like we are going to be getting any ramifications for Rashee Rice. We've also seen with the Alvin Kamara stuff, I mean, the wheels of justice spin very slowly here. So yeah, Rashee Rice, majority of this contest going in the second round, and now in the past week going in the late third round there. So we start Bijan Robinson, Deebo Samuel, and Rashee Rice here. Chipsy did 10 grams of weed. Chipsy, did a birdie tell me you did a face docs in the Deposit Kingdom Discord over the weekend? I believe a little birdie told me that. I didn't go and validate it though. Is this true, Chipsy, or was that stolen valor? Are you posting photos of other people? Chris Diaz says that's sketch drafting. Man, that kid has blown up. If you guys are not, millennials on or Zoomers on TikTok, if you're not aware of Sketch, very funny streamer, plays a bit of a character if you've seen some of his actual interviews where he breaks character. But I included a clip in the Fantasy Life newsletter today. He was just hanging out with CJ Stroud, Steph Diggs, Nico Collins at the practice facility. Good for Sketch. There you go. Chipsy confirming that was him in the Discord. So if you, for very niche people, actually, this doesn't work. I was going to try to clickbait people into joining the Deposit Kingdom Discord to go see Chipsy. But I guess you would only care if you're already in the Deposit Kingdom Discord. I will have to go find it. I saw you were at a bachelor party this week. Chipsy was at a bachelor party with 25 dudes. And everyone rightfully pointed out that is just way too many dudes. That's bachelorette party behavior where, wedding party where the girl is like, I have so many friends and I just don't want to piss anyone off. So I'm going to have a bridal party with 25 women and we're all going to Nashville this weekend. That's unspeakable behavior for a bachelor party, Chipsy. You get together with 2.5 of your closest friends, you go have a couple drinks and you call it a night. That's what real men do. Casey says, if you like dudes, come to the ship chasing party in Vegas. Hey, we had some females there, Casey, including your partner. So, come on. You're underselling it. All right, through 3 rounds, let's get back on track. Let's talk ball. Bijan Robinson, Deebo Samuel, Rashee Rice. Looking at ADP wise, we do have Travis Kelce, Lamar Jackson here. Thomas Avery became a new YouTube member. Welcome, Thomas. With your guys' YouTube membership, you do get access to all of those Best Ball After Dark shows. I do those on Fridays and Saturday nights. Talked with Sam Hoppen from Fantasy Pros on Friday. That was a very fun show. All right, I think we're going to just grab Travis Kelce here. He is top of the ADP board. I already selected Rashee Rice. So we will head in that direction. Yeah, I talked with Sam Hoppen about some of his work right now. He's been making some really cool charts over at Fantasy Pros. He had one where he was looking at the last time a team drafted a specific position in round 1 or round 2 of the NFL draft. Just some very fun quirks there. The Bucs, for instance, have not selected a wide receiver in the 1st or 2nd round since they took Mike Evans in 2014. Some fun stuff there. Check out that show with Sam Hoppen. I'll keep those guests rolling here. Joshua Frick, remember when we used to draft annually? I do, on Splash Play, which, spoiler alert, I don't know, has Spags announced this on Splash Play? Forgive me if he has, and I'm not breaking any news, but Spags and I owe the people a drunken live stream, is what I've been told we owe the people. I believe it was last year at this time when I was trying to get to 15K subs, Splash Play was trying to get to 3K. We said when that happens, Spags and I would reunite for a show where beverages would be consumed and we would draft a team. And that is going to take place this Saturday. We are going to do a double header. We're going to draft on Splash Play, and then we are going to do a Best Ball After Dark on my channel. So you can stay tuned for that. Have had a lot of success with those. We did it was on my birthday last year with Ben Gretsch. We did a randomizer where we were imbibing, and then we did a Best Ball After Dark directly after. I am, of course, going to close the loop with my Patrick Mahomes double stack here and go with Mahomes, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, and then we got Bijan and Deebo Samuel here. Fairly obvious pick. And again, the fun thing here is that most of the Mahomes, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce double stacks were not able to also include Deebo Samuel. It was basically a 2v2 on, you take Rashee Rice in the 2nd, and then which wide receiver are you getting in the late 3rd to pull this off? So I have to think that Mahomes, Deebo, Rashee, Travis Kelce will at least be relatively unique down the home stretch of drafting, because that was just impossible to do before the Rashee Rice news. Yeah, Go AZ Card says, hopefully there is a draft available this Saturday. Yeah, I mean, what are we at? So Underdog did launch the little board. I know some of you who had already maxed the big board were very excited about that. The little board, it's going to have 56,000 entrants. It's already 9% full. What has it been open for a day? So yeah, that should be open. Who knows? Who knows with you guys? The little contests fill, or smaller buy-in contests fill so fast on Underdog. I think we'll have a contest open. If not, Spags and I will just be forced to drink, and, the horror of talking on stream without a draft to do. Young Beastie loving the start, hitting me with the fire emojis. Mark Wolf wants one more big buy-in pre-draft tourney. I like that. I'm a little, I called my shot last time asking Hope and Numi for a higher dollar buy-in contest. I like having 100% hit rate. I'm kind of tentative to go on record asking for one more right now, because if I get shot down, then my influencer powers can really be brought into question. I might have to keep my 100% hit rate. I might have to pick my spots, Mark. But if you want to put that out into the world, Mark wants there to be another high stakes contest. I'll give it my stamp of approval. I just want it on the record that I'm not specifically asking myself less my influencer powers are brought into question. Copper Prices wants a $100 single entry. GA likes Andy's start. Jamar Chase, Devon Achane, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Christian Kirk. That is a very fun start. I like that one as well. Someone should snipe him on Joe Burrow just to really send him on rabid tilt. Just kidding. Don't do that. I hate that I even floated that into the air. Sorry. Yeah, Chris is right. If you want more contests, then contests need to fill. That is definitely a good point here. We've probably reached the portion where most of the sickos have already maxed. I wonder how many maxers we have. Let me know in the chat. Have you already maxed, or are you very close to maxing, etc.? I would like to get that poll. Actually, you know what? I will do an official poll. I will do an official poll. Have you, or do you plan to max the big board? All right. Let me see what those results get us here. Let me throw Joe Burrow in the queue here. Can I make Andy sweat? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? What do we want to do here? I think I might just go my giga tight ends here. I already have Deebo Samuel. I really, really hate late round tight ends in this contest. I have paired George Kittle up with Trey McBride. I have paired him up with Mark Andrews. I do not believe combinatorially I have a George Kittle, Travis Kelce lineup. So we will grab George Kittle here. Let's see. I mean, this is honestly stunning. It's honestly stunning. We have almost 200 people watching this stream right now. There are 60 votes, and I get that it's a small sample size, but the fact that 36% of precincts reporting right now plan to put 150 entries into a pre-NFL draft contest. Let that sink in. 37% of voters. Again, it's a small sample size. We're talking about 60 voters right now. It still is a mind-boggling amount of people putting 150 entries in before the NFL draft even happens. Chris says, I did 3 biggest boards. That was for me how I felt like I was able to get a little bit more volume in. 3 biggest boards being the same monetary equivalent of doing 30 big boards. For everyone wondering, Andy did get Joe Burrow. The thing is, Andy, let me know here. Would you have pushed Joe Burrow around the turn if I wasn't dicking around? Because there's a Lamar drafter behind you and a CJ Stroud drafter, and then just a Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans. Like you know what? You were smart because the 2-hole takes Dak Prescott unstacked there, Andy. No Cowboys on the roster. You were very smart to take Joe Burrow when you did. You were very smart. That would have been a brutal tilt. You would have deserved that one. Max the albatross like an adult. I'm reading books like an adult, Chipsy. We're out here reading books. If you guys aren't subscribed to the P.O. Box newsletter, we are doing a book club. Let's see. I need some more wide receivers. DeAndre Hopkins chilling here. Best wide receiver on the board. I have a lot of DeAndre Hopkins, but he definitely fits this build. We're juiced up at tight end, elite quarterback, anchor running back with Bijan. Let's get DeAndre Hopkins here. But yeah, the P.O. Box this week, we're reading 2 books in conjunction with Patrick Laird and Davis Maddock, their guest curators. Although I got a very funny text. I won't twist his words a ton, but Laird is not enjoying the nonfiction selection for this month, the trading game, which he thought looked interesting, but he's not liking it. And I was defending it. I am enjoying it. We had a little battle in the text messages whether the trading game was a good book or not. So if you're joining us, if you have started reading, let us know what you think. he was pushing back on the writer's writing style, and it is pretty sloppy, but I think it's a pretty captivating story. I've been hooked by it. David, Pete got a whole generation hooked on best ball and then bails for books. This is the thing. I know that when hot best ball summer starts, when best ball mania is launched, when the new eliminators, when the new weekly winners, I am going to be drafting around the clock. All I wanted for myself was just a tiny little garden, a little oasis of building positive habits during the months of February, March, and April. Is that too much to ask? And I was completely at peace with it. I was going to let what are we at? 30% of you, we're up to 80 votes. The 30% of you, for you guys to max this contest. I was perfectly content with that. But don't worry. We are getting geared up for drafting. I just got a new Underdog Cardio Club device, I should say, machine. I was in the business of trying to find a Stairmaster. I could not find the Stairmaster that I wanted. Basically, the Stairmasters at the gym are these like industrial grade Stairmasters. I could not justify how much it costs to buy one of them. They're like $7,000, $8,000. So I have settled for an assault bike. I've gotten one of the assault bikes that I've been eyeing for a while. I think it's going to be one of my go-to modes for Underdog Cardio Club. I have been doing the rowing club, cardio club, which I don't mind, but it's not my favorite. And I am excited for the assault bike. So I will be in those cardio club streets. I'm going to be doing a big chunk of my drafts, cardio club style. And I should also mention, I know someone asked me on Twitter the other day what the plans are for Underdog Cardio Club this year. And I actually have a meeting. I'm going to meet with the Underdog guys this week. We're going to cook up some plans for that. So yes, for those of you wondering, the Underdog Cardio Club will be back, and excited to get in the lab for that here. All right, let's see. What do we want to do here? I want to see. What I was wrestling with here is if I should try to push Brock Purdy around or not. I think I am going to try to push him around. All right, this is what I'm going to do. We're going to have fun. If someone wants to take Brock Purdy, they can. I'm taking Xavier Worthy. If I am going to giga stack the Chiefs, don't I have to giga stack them with the funnest possible addition, the Xavier Worthy edition? It's everyone's favorite mock draft spot for Worthy to go to the Chiefs at pick 32. In my Dream Fits video on the Deposit Kingdom channel, I did Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs. And if I'm going to draft Patrick Mahomes and Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce, we might as well go full Voltron onslaught with it. But yes, I'm very excited about Underdog Cardio Club. It's been super cold here. I went for a run yesterday. I didn't do Cardio Club. I went out for an old-fashioned outdoor run. It was like 40 degrees. And I said, I'm going to buy an assault bike so I can not have to go outside and I can draft teams instead. Travis says I'm on the Mitchell to Chiefs train. Yeah, it's going to be really fascinating to see the tipping point for wide receivers in the first round, because I think there's good arguments on both sides. The one argument could be, hey, there are so many wide receivers, specifically in the wide receiver 5 to 15 range, who all have a lot of talent and intriguing profiles. Just wait to draft that guy in the second round. Or we could see an arms race where someone reaches early for a Brian Thomas. If Brian Thomas goes in like the top 15, or we see Xavier Worthy go shockingly high in the top 20, something like that, then everyone's looking around like, no, now I need to go get my AD Mitchell. Next thing you know, the Bills are trying to trade up. I think you could see a pretty wild domino effect there. And that's what I'm rooting for. I want the FOMO induced wide receiver run in the NFL draft. We are going to take Brock Purdy here. I could also take AD Mitchell, but Yeah, I guess with Atlanta, you could have Kirk, you could have, You know what? We're gonna pivot. We're not selecting Brock. We are not selecting Brock. This is my thought process. I'm going to be building out multiple stacks here. One of those stacks can be without a quarterback. Because I spent such a high draft pick on Patrick Mahomes, I want to keep taking shots at wide receivers in this range before it really dries up. And with Will Levis late, with Hopkins, with Kirk Cousins paired with Bijan, I think I can get away with not closing the loop on that stack and feeling fine with a later quarterback paired with Mahomes. I saw Jewish McCaffrey, high volume underdog player. He posted a tweet this week. Actually, let me just pull this up. He posted a tweet looking at what he was calling the wide receiver cliff in drafts this year. And I thought this was pretty spot on here. I'll pull his tweet up. He says, is Tyler Lockett this year's Bateman line? If you're too far behind at wide receiver once Lockett is off the draft board, feels almost impossible to recover. It also seems appropriate since 2024 Gabe Davis is probably as useless as 2023 Bateman. Some of the wide receivers going ahead, you got Mike Williams, Romeo Doubs, Jacoby Myers, Josh Downs, Tyler Lockett. And then I do agree. You're into Gabe Davis, rookie wide receiver flyer territory, Khalil Shakur, Jerry Jeudy. And what is interesting is you think about the Bateman line. So for those of you who don't know what Jewish McCaffrey is referencing, last year it was about the 7-8 turn. It was about pick 84, 85, where Bateman and Zay Flowers would come off the board. And then it just got really gross. There obviously ended up being gems. There ended up being Jacoby. There ended up being Nico Collins, all of the rookies who hit, the Reeds, the Nakuas, the Dells. But from a projectable standpoint, there was a line there that drafters felt, wide receiver avalanche drafters felt especially. This line is moved back in the big board, which makes sense, right? Because there's so many rookies that are pushing that line down further. But I do suspect once the NFL draft happens, once some of our favorite prospects go to really shitty landing spots, their ADPs are going to drop and the Tyler Lockett line is going to move up. The other really interesting thing about the Tyler Lockett stuff here is for my video this week, I am looking at the most polarizing players, and Tyler Lockett is only polarizing in how he is ranked compared to ADP, because all of the ranking sources that I've looked at all have a higher than market rank on Tyler Lockett. ETR is higher than them. Leg up is higher on him, and Sean is higher on him. And if Sean is higher than market on a wide receiver like Tyler Lockett, who might as well be like 40 years old, then it's a good pick. So I do think the Tyler Lockett line is a very good one for right now, and almost everyone agreeing that he is a value. All right, boom, we did it. We pushed Brock Purdy back. If you love something, let it go. If it's meant to be, it will come back. So we were able to sneak in. I almost took Brock Purdy. This is a lesson of not forcing stacks, especially when you've cornered the market. This was one of the tips from the Big Board Tips video that we made on the Deposit Kingdom channel. When you've cornered a market on the pass catchers and they're not a quarterback who has running juice, you can a lot of times get deals on them. And I was legitimately tempted to take Brock Purdy at pick 92 because I'm a stack slappy and I wanted to lock it up. But I said, nope, I want Xavier Worthy. And then I said, screw it. I don't need Brock Purdy for this team. I'll take A.D. Mitchell at 101. And then Brock Purdy falls all the way to 116. So almost get a 20 pick discount on that there. So here's the team through 10 rounds. Feel pretty good about this. Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy at quarterback. They're both stacked up with their tight ends, Travis Kelce and George Kittle. So we got two solid quarterbacks, two elite tight ends. We still just have Bijan holding down the fort at running back, which he'll need to do if we're taking him 5th overall. And then we got 5 wide receivers. Deebo Samuel and DeAndre Hopkins is our veteran presence. Rashee Rice in there as our second-year wide receiver, and then 2 rookies, Xavier Worthy and A.D. Mitchell. Wow. Davis Maddock has logged into the chat. Pete Slapperzet. We might have to workshop that. I don't know if that rolls off the tongue. Getting double Texas, double Chiefs, double SF. I fear he might be winning the big board. If you want to get the stamp of approval on a team from Davis Maddock, you just draft a bunch of Chiefs and then a bunch of rookies that could potentially go to the Chiefs. And that's the quickest way to his heart. Did someone point out I have not poured coffee yet, right? Did I see that in the chat? And I was like, holy cow, you are right. Let me make this pick, and then we will have a long overdue coffee poll. Thomas, I followed that advice with Tua after taking Hill and Waddle, only to discover that the guy who picked before me was named Tua Stan. It predictably ruined the stack. Brutal. That's not in this draft, is it? I was like, I don't see a Tua Stan. All right. Should we draft? My guy, Jonathan Brooks, is not here. This still feels like maybe we need to go up and get a running back here. This feels like this flat tier here for me at wide receiver. I shouldn't have hyped up Tyler Lockett right before this. When did Lockett go? Oh, Lockett went way early. Lockett ended up being a top 100 pick in this one, which I guess if you've uploaded any of the rankings now, I mean, ETR has Lockett at 84. So my guess is Kazo here is drafting off of the ETR ranks. We decided to get a running back there. I'm having a hard time separating a lot of these wide receivers. I don't mind Troy Franklin and Keon Coleman, but when I'm really honest with myself about like 2v2ing them with some later stuff like Xavier Legette, Roman Wilson, Ricky Pearsall, it's not that I don't prefer Franklin and Coleman. It's just the 2v2s with the running backs aren't even close. So if you're doing like, say I get like Jalen Wright and a Legette or Roman Wilson, then look at the inverse. Those guys going around pick 160. So if you go Troy Franklin, Keon Coleman, and then try to get a running back, you're looking at the Antonio Gibson, the Braylon Allen, who I don't mind, but I do think it's a much weaker 2v2 than going the other way. Bindles, who scores more points in 2023, Christian Watson or Tyler Lockett? I mean, I don't even think it's close. I think it's Tyler Lockett. I think the Christian Watson ADP is honestly absurd. I want to see if my drafting actually backs up that take. I want to say I haven't taken him once. Yeah, I have 0 Christian Watson. I like that one is such a bad ADP to me because not only is he firmly in the kind of like Jamison Williams tier of guy we know has some exciting traits, but just struggles to kind of put it together. He's obviously had injury stuff as well, but the way this offense is operating right now, the amount of attack vectors he has from these other wide receivers and not being able to command a big target share, like you need a bigger target share than what he's capable of providing at that cost. When there's guys like Dobbs and Dontavian Wicks, who I think I might take Dontavian Wicks straight up fantasy points versus Christian Watson in 2024. And then you're going to get what, a 4-round discount on that? I don't know. I think the Christian Watson ADP is pretty absurd. The fact that Chess Liam took him at pick 79 is everything I need to know. Paul says that's why Watson is the Bateman line, artificially pushed up as the last upside wide receiver. Yeah, I suppose. I just like, to me, he is like the way I would think about Christian Watson. Like if Peter put out his blind ranks, I'd have him in this Khalil Shakur, Jerry Jeudy, Rashid Shaheed, Troy Franklin tier. And that's what's kind of weird to me, because at first I wanted to just write it off as, hey, there's a lot of enthusiasm for Jordan Love in this passing offense with another year under their belt. But you're not seeing a huge rise in the other guys. I mean, Romeo Dobbs at 113, I mean, Wicks is still on the board right now. Yeah. When the draft happens and Worthy goes at pick 17 and 80, Mitchell Coleman are both going to be top 40 wide receiver picks. That line is going to change. It's going to evaporate, right? Because those guys are going to push up. And I think we will once again see the line closer to like pick 80, where it's going to feel really gross taking a wide receiver after that. After that whole rant, I am very excited to get Dontavian Wicks here. I'm pretty excited about that. Wicks, I took him in my biggest board draft, and I kind of made the case for him in that video. If you want to see that video, I went through pick by pick, 20-round biggest board draft, $100 buy-in. One of my entries I did as a slow draft. And I mean, Wicks checks so many boxes that you want to see from a second-year breakout. Really efficient in year one, had one of the highest first down target rates, which I think is always an impressive thing. I know Pat has looked at a lot at first read targets, kind of showing intention of the offense. He was even banged up a little bit too, but I would not be surprised if they don't bring in someone else to see Wicks pretty close behind Jaden Reed as the top pass catcher in that offense there. Troy Eisenberg, do you only do big tourneys or ever just a self-contained league? I generally just do the tournaments. That's what I stream. You know, there's the big prizes on here. What are we chasing? 200,000 in this one. But I'll sometimes host some private 12-person leagues. If there's interest for those, we can get those going in the Discord too. I think everyone here just loves chasing the top prizes. So most of us focus our attention on the tournaments. But if you're looking to get more practice, reps, smaller buy-in type stuff, I do think the private leagues are a really good option, and we should be organizing more of those. I was a little torn about getting hyped on Wicks. The other guy I really wanted, and Sean was getting me hyped up on him on ship chasing the other night, is Zach Charbonnet. I basically knew I was going to have to decide between Wicks or Charbonnet here. I think I got anchored to gushing about Dontavian Wicks being the much better cost-adjusted pick relative to Christian Watson. I think I probably would have wanted Zach Charbonnet on this team just with how weak running back gets. But you live and you learn. Andy takes Ty Chandler. We might have to do... Well, let's do Marshawn Lloyd. He's another guy that I think falls in that kind of ambiguous bucket of a guy who could challenge to be the third running back off the board. I think you could sell me on Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Braylon Allen, any of those guys being the third. Maybe Blake Corum too. I have a hard time coming around on Blake Corum, but he could obviously be the third too. But I think Marshawn Lloyd is in that same tier. And we need to keep stacking some upside bets here with Bijan. I do think I'm going to regret not going Charbonnet over Wicks. That is one of the downsides of waxing poetic about a player, and then you see him on the screen. You're like, okay, now I got to take him, and now I'm going to have to scramble at running back. This team has Dylan Laube, Lubes written all over it. Lundar, oh God, I had so much Charbs last year. He was an awesome pick last year, and now he's 40 picks cheaper. He's a smash pick. I mean, the thesis is the exact same. I think people who thought he was going to completely discard Kenneth Walker, I think that was a pipe dream. Like, he was always, the thesis with Charbonnet was massive contingent upside. We've seen it play out in the Seattle offense year after year with Rashad Penny, then Kenneth Walker the year previously. And then the hope was he would have some standalone value as a pass catcher, that they wouldn't use Kenneth Walker as much in third downs. But that thesis is the exact same thesis. We saw what it looked like. I mean, he was a bell cow back in those games that Kenneth Walker missed. He had back-to-back games, I think, against the Cowboys and the 49ers, getting you 15 plus half-point PPR scores in those games. And now he's 40 picks cheaper. I think the Charbonnet stuff looks very nice to me. Chipsy, are we drafting 20th round Rashad Penny on this team? I have not drafted any Rashad Penny yet, I think. Rashad Penny, not ranked here. I should go look at my ranking sheet and see if any of the let me see if any of the sites are ranking Rashad Penny. No one has a rank on Rashad Penny. Chipsy, you are the only one ranking him. Man, what a brutal run out. What a brutal run out for us. Lundar, since you're waxing poetically about the Seahawks, does Geno keep the QB1 job all year? If so, he's cheap. I would have to set the odds of Geno holding on to the full job, assuming he stays healthy. I think he's probably like around 80%. That's just my gut thing. Like, there's a 20% chance he implodes and the team's like, hey, we just traded for Sam Howell. But if Geno is making mistakes, it's like, you don't think Sam Howell's going to come in there and make mistakes too? So I don't know. Sam Howell to me feels more like kind of an injury hedge. You know, if Geno gets hurt, we feel good about a guy who can come in and sling it. All right. You know what? I've not drafted a ton of Kendre Miller. Another guy who's slightly cheaper than he was last year. And we'll still probably be grabbing another running back coming back in this next pick. But yeah, I haven't taken a lot of Kendre. He falls 8 picks past ADP here. We just need to build out this running back room. Going to probably get one more guy I'm somewhat okay with here. I was thinking about doing a little hand cucking Tyler Algier and Bijan, but considering how thin this room is, I think I definitely need Bijan to hit his upper range of outcomes, and then I can take a stab on another back there. Do we have any evidence Kendre Miller exists? I'm going to text Evan Silva immediately following the show and have him text Nick Underhill for confirmation that Kendre Miller exists. What do you think? Nick Underhill, sneaky ADP driver. Like, I bet, because he was in the replies to one of his tweets last year, like hyping up Kendre Miller. And I want to say that certainly fueled some ADP movement. I think he can single-handedly move the ADPs of some of these Saints players. All right. Antonio Gibson goes. Mark here building out his 0 RB room. Singletary, Zach Charbonnet, Jaleel McLaughlin, and Antonio Gibson, along with David Montgomery. It's a fun room. We'll see what Andy does here. God damn it, Andy, you sniped me twice. Eli Mitchell was going to be a guy I was going to grab here. Man, this puts me in a gross range for running backs. We're just going to have to keep taking wide receivers. We're going to keep going with some rookies. Been hearing a little Jalen Polk buzz lately. Peter Schrager had a video, I believe over the weekend, saying he's hearing tons of positive buzz about Jalen Polk right now. Need to hedge out of some of my massive Jalen McMillan bags. I believe Jalen McMillan, my most drafted wide receiver right now. Yeah, pulled it up 34.5%. I need to get some more Polk. Only 10% Polk. So we will boost it there. And God, this team, Dylan Laube, this team needs some lube bad. I have a feeling this team. I'm mad that I passed on Zach Charbonnet. I'm mad because all the best picks over these next few rounds are going to look like wide receivers. Yeah, Tyler says Underhill giving positive training camp news kept Michael Thomas ADP in place. Copper is bragging, even though he says he's not bragging, but the overflow draft already in round 20. Did I forget to do a coffee pour? Did I say I was going to do a coffee pour and then forget? I'm like, why am I so parched? This is the most blue ballsing delayed coffee pour I've ever done. Filled that one up to the brim for you guys. The absolute brim. A real make good. No, I'm just not going to indulge Davis in his Clyde Edwards-Helaire love. Even though it's better than the Rashad Penny suggestion. The thing about Davis, that should actually be your bit. Your bit should just be really loving like 20th round picks, because you can always just shrug it off and say it was a 20th round pick. It was a low probability of hitting anyways. That's the risk of, you put your nuts on the line for Xavier Worthy when he gets drafted to the Chiefs and he's a 5th round pick and he busts. That hurts. Trust me. I did this with JSN. But if you make your entire brand 20th round picks, it was just a 20th round pick, brother. What do you want me to do, brother? We're all throwing darts out here. Become the 20th round tout. I think that's a lane someone should take. It was just a 20th round dart, brother. What do you want me to do? Think I got a crystal ball over here, brother? Think I got a crystal ball? Just CEH, brother. One little pick. You weren't going to win anyways. Davis, you say my whole brand is going to be Dylan Laube as the RB4 on Buffalo. You are trying to wrestle. See, Pat did make Dylan Laube a thing. I tried to wrestle it away as part of my brand, and then you've tried to wrestle it away as part of yours. Pretty classic progression there for us. All right, let's take another rookie running back, Audric Estime. He just shows up faster on the game film. I wouldn't worry about his 40 time, his tested 40 time. You watch that tape, Audric Estime is blazing out there. That's something those metrics head can't see with their eyes. Davis said, I guarantee I have more Laube teams than Karain. Can you beat 27%? Let's do it. Not dollars. Not all of us have drafted 150. We're talking real percentages. Who has the most Dylan Laube in the community? Can anyone beat 27%? I bet someone can. That's not that insane of a number, but it is kind of insane for a guy who's probably not going to play a snap of football this year. 62% Laube. Okay. I waved the white flag. What's it matter, brother? He's a late round pick. Who cares if he doesn't hit? Who cares if I have 62%? He's a 20th round pick, brother. God damn it. I can't believe I walked into letting Davis double up my Laube exposure. All because Brick shamed him on a podcast for being a smoothed out exposure, bro. Brick basically called Davis a robot with no autonomy, no ability to think for himself, blindly clicking buttons as a bot, another cog in the machine. And how Davis decided to get back at him, was just drafting a shit ton of Dylan Laube. I'm going to take Izzy Abanikanda, who was last year's Dylan Laube for me. SoCal bro, David Montgomery. SoCal David Montgomery.
Dude.
I realized my SoCal is just Davis.
Dude, bro. This Dylan Laube absolutely shreds, dude. I watched this game film, University of New Hampshire. Dude, just getting pitted right and left, catching balls out of the backfield, slicing up. Just the perfect set, dude. Just cruising down the 110. Right into La Hermosa. Dylan Laube.
Troy, there isn't a difference between 17 and 20, right? I take Ray Davis in the 17th based on the emotional opportunity cost of not getting my guy. Yeah, this was a huge thing that we were talking about in the Scroll the F Down video. Basically, ADP ceases to matter as a predictor of fantasy points around the 14th round. It's around, pick 165 in that range. And so however you want to shuffle up these late picks, you're not sacrificing projected points in the way you would be if you did that in the 3rd round. If you just basically said, I'm not drafting any of these guys in the 3rd round, I'm just going to draft multiple 5th round guys instead, then you're probably making a big mistake based on historical data for how players in those rounds perform. But yeah, if you haven't watched that video, go check that one out. That's on the Deposit Kingdom channel. How to outsmart ADP, all about the scroll the F down and how we can apply it to these season-long tournaments. So here's our team. We haven't done a recap in a hot minute. We're at a 2-6-7-2. We got Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy stacked up with Travis Kelce and George Kittle. I think we're probably done at quarterback and tight end. Not much we need to do there. The running back room, we've tried to recover. We took Bijan Robinson at pick 5. We didn't select our next running back until pick 125. Someday in the anchor running back history books, they'll point to this team. Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Kendre Miller, Audric Estime, and Izzy Abanikanda flanking Bijan Robinson. The wide receivers, Deebo Samuel, Rashee Rice, DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell, Dontavian Wicks, and Jalen Polk. Other than the running back room, which I think we've recovered okay, I'm still never going to be able to let that Zach Charbonnet pick go. Other than that, it's fine, I think. Did someone take Laube? Who did it? Who did it? Or is he still on the board? Who took him? Why can't I see it? Oh, there he is. Liam took him. God damn it. Of course. Of course. Liam. Isn't Liam now trying to steal Laube for his brand too? Because he went to University of New Hampshire. So did Pat Thorman. The amount of people slipping over themselves, tripping over themselves. See, the slippery was a Laube mix up there. The amount of people tripping over themselves to select Dylan Laube in drafts, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. We have 2 more picks here. Man. Is this scroll the F down time? Scroll the F down. What are we going to do here? You know what? Let's, who are we going to do? Get some Brendan Rice? How about that? Brendan Rice. If I can't get Jalen McMillan, we'll take Jerry Rice's son. Best Ball Brunch 2. Get the Laube. It's right there on a platter for you. If you happen to be a porn star and a best ball player, the next great film is right there for you. Look at who came crawling back. Playoff Rondo said he wasn't going to stay, but he can't leave us. Playoff Rondo can't quit us. All right, fine. I'll read this. We need the Raiders to draft Michael Penis and Anus Smith, then have the Chargers draft Dylan Laube. So all summer we can hear, yeah, I love the penis to anus stack with Laube bring back. For the audio listeners, Josh actually spelled out the names correctly, but I gave it the interpretation that it needed. We got Tony helping us produce today. Tony, please mark that down as a timestamp. We'll throw it on Twitter. We'll get 16 likes and we'll all laugh. All right, let's take a running back here. Jeez. You know what? I'm doing it for Davis. Davis wants 20th round CEH. How about 19th round CEH, brother? What's the worst that could happen? 19th round pick. No, I'm not taking Dobbins. The Chiefs brought in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. See, now I'm going to steal Davis's bit. The Chiefs brought in Clyde Edwards-Helaire and J.K. Dobbins, and they said they wanted CEH over Dobbins. 2782 here. What are we going to do? One more wide receiver? Enos Smith. This is what happens, though, is you say, oh, this, man, I kept this poll up for a long time. Jeez, let's end this poll. The problem is you say these joke names so many times that eventually you'll be in a setting where you don't want to say the joke name and you do. For example, we're doing our show with Sean Siegel on Ship Chasing on Thursday, and I said Enos Smith without blinking. And Pat rightfully had to call it out that not everyone is calling him Enos Smith. So just be careful with that. I just know I'm going to be on Sirius XM radio at some point this fall. And Enos Smith, I'm going to accidentally say Enos Smith. And they're going to say, what? I'm going to be like, oh boy. Oh boy. We got one more pick. What do you think? Another running back or another wide receiver? We're fine with Mahomes and Purdy, Kelce and Kittle. We're rocking twos at the onesies. Bijan, Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Kendre Miller, Audric Estime, Izzy Abanikanda, CEHR running backs. Wide receivers, Debo, Rashee Rice, DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell, Dontavian Wicks, Jalen Polk, Brendan Rice. The people are screaming for Mac Hollins. I guess Mac Hollins isn't the worst pick. I think we talked about this on the Badge Bros, often on the clock stream on Wednesday, where Mac Hollins is probably not going to end up being as relevant in Best Ball Mania because they're going to add someone. But if you're getting a pretty big ownership discount on him, Mac Hollins was not getting drafted, right? Through the majority of this contest, can someone... His ADP is at 234, which I assume means he was not getting drafted much. Mark, I did forget this was your final bullet. Thanks for the content, Pete. See you in the BBM 5 streets. You did good, soldier. 150. That CMC fade, a little questionable, but you did good, soldier. You only lost one hand out there. Win Eclipse content. What I think Boston, aren't we in like the 40% band? Isn't even not going to be that great here. Where is it? Ohio? Are the Ohio guys getting all the good stuff? Who's doing, which one of you guys are leaving your desk to go outside and check out the eclipse? There is a beautiful irony of that, right? The people it's the nerds who sit in their basements all day who are most excited to go outside and see the sun for the first time. They're like, we typically do not want to have anything to do with the sun. But this eclipse, man, that's enough for me to get outside for just about 10 minutes today. All right, humble legend. I'll take Mac Hollins for the culture. I will take Mac Hollins for the culture. I'll take him for Clay Sutton, I believe a UNC grad. There we go. Mac Hollins, come on down. Final pick. This was a slow draft. Everyone has to admit that, right? What am I doing here? Am I going to review this team or what, Pete? We going to review this team? Some of you, 98% where Willis lives, 100% at John James. Look at these Eclipse braggers, man. They're really starting to chat my ass. Oh, the Eclipse 100% at my place. I live in the best part of the country. Fuck off, man. Not all of us get 100%. Okay? Not all of us get 100%. All right, let's review this first team here. Let's review it. We did 2 elite quarterbacks, okay? Travis Kelce and George Kittle paired with them. We did an extreme anchor running back room with Bijan Robinson. The other running backs, rookies, Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Audric Estime, Kendre Miller, who we are working to confirm still exists, Izzy Abanikanda, who was my most drafted running back in last year's big board, and then CEH, because Davis told me it's just a 19th round pick. What does it matter, brother?
What does it matter, dude? We're all going to die anyways.
Wide receivers, Deebo Samuel, Rashee Rice, DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell, Dontavian Wicks, Jalen Polk, Brendan Rice, Mac Hollins for the culture, for the people. That's the team. I just hopped in another draft. We are filled now. I let the people in the Discord know where we pick an Influencer 101. We're back. We are back here. Spags is in this draft. Influencer 101. I'm going to do something that just absolutely pains Mark to do. Mark can't even fathom clicking select on Christian McCaffrey, but I did it. These have been filling very fast. I do tip off, if you guys are YouTube members and in the Discord and the Best Ball Breakfast channel, there is a Best Ball Breakfast draft alerts where I try to tip you guys off a few seconds before I hop in. Another one of your perks with a YouTube membership, the people clamoring for the Ducks. All right, let's hit you with some Ducks. We will not forget the Ducks like we did our first coffee pour. Influencer 101. Brian, this is Brian's first bullet of the year. Isn't that's the circle of life? Is that not the circle of best ball life? Mark completing his 150 max journey and Brian firing his first bullet of the year. Almost brings a tear to my eye. The circle of best ball life. Brandon, I got the Ducks going. I got the coffee. We just got a little distracted, okay? You got your Ducks. You got your coffee. I'll even give you a second pour in a little bit if you can just chill the fuck out. CMC, should I do the chalk? Stefon Diggs, Nico Collins?
Brother, no one's going to think to do this.
I'd honestly rather do it. I'd rather do CMC, Nico, and Tank, I think. That's going to be equally as hard to get, right? Because if you think about the majority of the contest, Nico was a fixture of the 1-2 turn. Like, pairing CMC with Nico was the hard thing to do. Whereas pairing Diggs with CMC wasn't that hard. He actually always went around in that range. So there you go. If you're Galbraining a unique combinatorial stack with CMC that involves the Texans pass catchers, I think you do it with Tank. Nico and Tank. All right, Nico does go one pick before me. I want to do DJ Moore. Let's do DJ Moore and Malik Nabers. Even though I read a report, a very unsubstantiated report that some teams have character issues around Malik Nabers. Is that not the ultimate bull signal? That's such a bull signal. When you get the bullshit report about that, that's how you know you can justify a 25th overall pick on a rookie. Ryan says, I love thinking of unique stacks to have in week 17, then not getting any teams through to week 17. That's literally the entire thesis of the week 17 stuff. It is so we can count our Skolansky bucks. It is so we can say, on the off chance that we survive this insane playoff gauntlet, then I will be fully optimized for it. It's betting a 100-1 long shot where you get 120-1 odds on it. Is it going to happen? No. But does it feel good to get that slight piece of value on it? Absolutely. That's what we comfort ourselves with. That is the warm blanket we wrap around ourselves. The process, the value, the EV, the Skolanskis. It's all we have. It's truly all we have. Teams being like, Malik Nabers cheated on his middle school girlfriend. Please let him fall to us. I mean, I had it in my dream landing spot video. I do really think like it absolutely, I know the McCarthy stuff is definitely the wrinkle here. But man, it just like the Cardinals should take Harrison and the Chargers should take Nabers. It really shouldn't be that hard. It really shouldn't be that hard. The rumor this morning, I wrote about it in the newsletter, the Patriots are apparently hot for JJ McCarthy, which I thought was so fitting because McCarthy's probably the most polarizing prospect, at least quarterback prospect this year. You know, started as a fringe first-round pick, and now you got rumors that he could go second overall. Patriots liking him at third. I do think the Patriots, if we're going to get just a laugh out loud or complete head scratching moment at the top of the draft, it's going to involve the Patriots. I still like the idea of them trading down from 3, selecting Joe Alt and Ladd McConkey with their haul. Yeah, got to replace Mac Jones with Mac Jones. Drake May would be perfect for the Patriots. Like if you don't have a skill position room, like the whole point of a game manager is if you have talent around them. Like Chris Allen comped him to Kirk Cousins, and it's like Kirk Cousins works when you have Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, and Jordan Addison. Doesn't work as much when your wide receiver 1 is DeMario fucking Douglas. All right. Let's see. I'm going to do a combo here. Let's do Christian Kirk and Mark Andrews. I think that's what we'll do here. I like getting one of the tight ends. You know what? I'm changing my mind. I'm going to do Christian Kirk. Man, I'm really debating here. Zay Flowers or Mark Andrews. The problem is these tight ends aren't really coming back around quite as much as they did. We now see Trey McBride going here. Let's do Mark Andrews. I can't quit the comfy 5th round tight end clicks. I just have a hard time passing on these guys. So we got CMC, DJ Moore, Malik Nabers, Christian Kirk, Mark Andrews. Gives us some stacking options. Caleb Williams. Could try to Galbrain and guess the Malik Nabers landing spot. Trevor Lawrence with Christian Kirk. Trevor Lawrence was one of the interesting ranks when I looked at the consensus rankings. He's not going to make the video, but both Legendary Upside and ETR are higher than ADP on Trevor Lawrence. Leg Up's at 111, ETR's at 100. Trevor Lawrence, ADP 119, and then Sean is below market at 126. So just like a slightly interesting eval for him, losing Calvin Ridley. You kind of have to expect that they draft someone. Playoff Rondo, the Ducks are starving. The Ducks are playing, brother. The Ducks are playing. You're having a tough show, Playoff Rondo. First, you threatened to unsub. Then you claimed you left. And now you're saying you can't hear the Ducks. The Ducks are playing. Someone tell Rondo that the Ducks are eating. Looks like the chat was conflicted. Andrews, Flowers. Oh, actually, Johnny voted twice. Turn up the volume, Rondo. If your entire household can't hear me saying things like penis, anus, and lube, then you don't have the volume turned up loud enough. How much do we have going in the NBA playoff best ball stuff? All this Rondo talk. Maybe I think for the club tomorrow, we should do some more playoff basketball contests. Andy, are you still around? What do we got going on? Yeah, we still got the dance. Yeah, we should do some more NBA drafts tomorrow. Only 31% full. When does this lock? Okay, this locks in 12 days. Yeah, I'm calling it right now. Yes, Andy's there. Yeah, let's do it. We should book some guests too. We're workshopping our show idea here on the fly. I'm thinking we could get Zakarian. I know maybe we could get Dink over at ETR. I know he's been doing some stuff. We'll reach out. We'll do some NBA playoff best ball content tomorrow on the club in the afternoon. All right, let's see here. I am now picking, I believe this will be a running back or wide receiver pick. I do like Jordan Addison a lot. ADP rank. Let's do Jordan Addison with one of these. David Montgomery looks good here. We could also take Evan Ingram and set up a double with Trevor Lawrence. That's kind of fun. I feel like David Montgomery is a pick I definitely like more in some of those 0 RB builds as being kind of my first running back. I think I'm going to try to lock up tight end again. That is the theme of these drafts, elite tight ends. And then we already have Christian Kirk, and we'll see if we can get Trevor Lawrence at a discount. Christian McCaffrey at running back, DJ Moore, Malik Nabers, Christian Kirk, Jordan Addison at wide receiver, Mark Andrews, Evan Ingram. And then we'll be picking again at like 96 and 97, which should be a sweet spot for some of the wide receivers there. I think that should work out well. Tell ETR to relax on the backup Nuggets. This is how you know you're in too deep. It's like it's funny to think of the people who will be watching like fantasy football drafting streams, in August, and them trying to understand what that means. Tell ETR to relax on the backup Nuggets. Chris Diaz loves the T-Law stacks. I see our new YouTube member, Chad Candles, did get in this one here. Chad Candles took Kincaid at 53, has Jamar Chase, Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle to start, James Cook, Kincaid, so getting some of those Bills on a squad together, Godwin and Burrow. Burrow stacked up with Chase. Seems solid to me. All right, you guys are getting that second coffee pour. I deprived you of one for far too long during the first draft. Here you go. No Karain joining us for Best Ball Breakfast this morning, I believe. I think he said Brittany's getting induced tomorrow. So within the next couple of days, Patrick Karain will become a father. Congratulations to Pat. That pour started out sounding like a fart. All right. I guess I determine the culture around here. And when you talk about Dylan Laube and Michael Penis, those are the kind of comments you're going to get back at you. This is my fault. This show really devolved. It used to be a bastion of just solid best ball content. No tomfoolery, brass tacks, who to draft, league winners, best values, fades. And now we just make perverted, juvenile double entendres. Consigliere, the energy this Monday is weird. I know, man. I know. All right, Copper, you just had to take Xavier Worthy at 93. On a roster with JSN, no less. Dude torches his draft and then snipes me on Xavier Worthy. Not very nice. And AD Mitchell goes at 88. So much for my wide receiver thesis here. So much for that. I do not have a lot of Mike Williams. I think I should get some Mike Williams. That also gives me, I have 0 quarterbacks right now. So this sets me up for some more backdoor stacks. Yeah, let's do Mike Williams. And then this could be a running back selection. Yeah, let's do Brian Robinson. He's a guy, one of the guys that's going to show up in the video this week on the Deposit Kingdom channel. By the way, I have that pinned in here, or a video to last week's. Please, if you guys have not already, go subscribe to the Deposit Kingdom channel. Gonna have weekly videos out there on Thursday, best ball strategy related. Really want to get that channel rolling, so make sure you guys are subscribed. If you like watching these draft streams, you're going to like the videos over there. But Austin Ekeler is one of the picks that's interesting in that all 3 of the ranking sets I looked at, ETR, Leg Up, and RotoViz, all have a below market ranking on Austin Ekeler. His ADP is 95.9, ETR is at 115, Leg Up at 118, and RotoViz at 105. And I think that those are always interesting to me, where basically the entire the whole reason that ADP is there is from people not using ranking sets, right? Where Austin Ekeler is still such a irresistible name, I think, for casuals to click. It's like, dude, it's fucking Austin Ekeler. You know, he's a first round pick. Why is he going at pick 100? So that's an interesting one there. And I do think if you are full fading Austin Ekeler, you want to be clicking Brian Robinson at a decent clip. One solar eclipse and we're all going crazy. What is the exact time that this eclipse is supposed to happen today? Someone tell me. The one thing I was reconciling with at that pick where I took Brian Robinson as Caleb Williams comes off the board at 110, as I was thinking that I would need to take Caleb Williams at that pick, at pick 97, if I wanted to stack him up with DJ Moore. But ultimately, I decided I would sit on some of my quarterback selections. 420. Boston starts at 216. Okay. Did you guys go buy Eclipse glasses? Man, if you wanted to think about a flash business to make a ton of money, I'm sure there was some enterprising company out there that made like cool Eclipse glasses. They thought of this a couple years out and just positioned themselves to make money hand over fist. See, Brandon Merchant bought binoculars. I think this is a fair comment from Chipsy. Is Caleb getting too expensive? I think it's a fair question. I think he's probably like around expensive. Like if I just had to be completely honest with myself, I think he's a smidge expensive because you can get similar profiles with far less uncertainty in this same round. But there is the mystery box upside that is driving that up. I was really hoping I could get Jonathan Brooks there. I feel like Jonathan Brooks would have been a very fun click. I am going to lock up Trevor Lawrence. The question here is, do I want to grab another quarterback here? Like, do I want to take Justin Herbert, maybe play Herbert to the Chargers with Nabers? The other option would be to sit on this, maybe come back for Aaron Rodgers in a little bit. I do not want to take Gabe Davis at this price, even though there is a decent stack there. I think I'm going to try Herbert. I'm going to play this out as a Malik Nabers to the Chargers. I'm going to play this out as Jim Harbaugh pulls his head out of his ass, realizes that he needs a wide receiver, and Justin Herbert, who was going 60 picks earlier last year, has some big weeks with Malik Nabers. Yeah, Daniel, Chipsy, back to the Caleb Williams stuff. I wonder how much of it is being driven by the market thinking they draft Rome Odunze, right? Because that has been a very popular pick. It almost feels like the Bears, or the floor for Rome is the Bears. What are they picking at 9? And I wonder how much of it is them saying, oh my God, if Caleb Williams has Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze, like there's no way he's not going to pay off a 110 price tag. But I also think you're just getting the CJ Stroud factor too, right? People are saying, we saw what CJ Stroud did in a rookie year. I think you could say, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, comparable, if not better, wide receiver room, definitely better than at least what people expected from Tank Dell and Nico. Why can't Caleb Williams do what Nico did last year? I think that's the thought process. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I think that's what's going into this rank. But we also saw the team spend money on DeAndre Swift. They still have Khalil Herbert. They have Roshan Johnson. They are going to try to make things easy for Caleb Williams at the start. Like, I would not be surprised if they are more lower passing volume than people would hope, where they're going to look at this personnel and be like, why are you running the ball so much? I could see that happening. I guess the rub really comes down to how much do we think Caleb Williams is going to run? Can you get any extra juice from him on his legs, where then you start to get a little bit more excited? But if he's not running a ton, I do think you start to enter a little dicey territory at that ADP. I am kind of glad that I locked up my quarterback there. I could have taken Daniels because now look at this run. So I take Herbert at 121. Daniels goes at 123. Kirk at 129. Rodgers at 133. Watson 138. May at 139. So that was a mini QB run there. And I think all of those guys ahead of ADP. Yeah, Rodgers went around ahead of ADP. May went around ahead of ADP. Watson went almost 2 rounds ahead of ADP. So I feel decent about that. Probably should grab another running back here. This feels like a running back and wide receiver pick. My God, you know what? Yeah, this is pretty sick. Like this is where you find out, are you a stack slappy or not? Because every bone in my body says, how could you take Joshua Palmer over Dontavian Wicks? I'm going to punt this decision for a second. I'm going to take Jaleel McLaughlin and I'm going to punt this decision. The stack slappy in me is saying, hey, you took Justin Herbert. You have already made a bet that Jim Harbaugh isn't going to fully tank this offense. And Joshua Palmer is the wide receiver 1 on that team, potentially the wide receiver 2 in Malik Nabers. I think at my core, I am a stack slappy. I don't always draft Joshua Palmer, but when I do, it's on a Justin Herbert team, 6 picks past that ADP. Lord, forgive me for my sins. Forgive me for my sins. At the end of the day, Davis is right. Peter, stack, slap, Verzet. Joshua Palmer. Forgive me, for he does not know what he's done. Ahoo! I'm in the confessional booth. Ahooing to the priest. Father, forgive me for what I've done, but ahoo! All right, here's the team through 13 rounds. This draft is speeding along at a much faster clip. We once again have I guess not 2 early quarterback, but 2 mid-round quarterbacks and 2 elite tight end build. So we got Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert. And then we have Mark Andrews and Evan Ingram at tight end. Our running backs, Anchor CMC with Brian Robinson Jr. and Jaleel McLaughlin. Our wide receivers, DJ Moore, Malik Nabers, Christian Kirk, Jordan Addison, Mike Williams, Lord forgive me, Joshua Palmer. The other pick was Dontavian Wicks. If I was in a redraft league, or who asked that question earlier about a self-contained league, I take Dontavian Wicks there every time. I'll take Dontavian Wicks versus Joshua Palmer fantasy points bets. But if I'm winning this tournament, I'm going to need Justin Herbert to go off in a couple of weeks. Sam says rookie quarterbacks have a decent history of being fantasy relevant, in my opinion, and Caleb is inheriting one of the best offenses imaginable for a number one overall. Yeah, I agree with that, but I think to truly transcend into like elite quarterback territory as a pocket passer is really hard to do, because you can often just arbitrage that kind of production later. Caleb Williams price at 110. I don't think you're quite into dicey territory, because you are around the guys you would arbitrage it with. Tua, Kirk Cousins, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. Like, these are the other names of, I mean, how many times would we have looked at Trevor Lawrence, another top prospect who has really good weapons, who, because he doesn't run, because they do focus on the run game a decent bit, doesn't have these transcendent fantasy scores. And I think that's where the dichotomy is, right? It's like Caleb Williams, we could say he has like a high fantasy floor, but the question is, can he give us the occasional 30-point week? With CJ Stroud, we saw that. And it was like the perfect storm of CJ Stroud being way better than anyone imagined, Tank Dell being way better than anyone imagined, their defense being worse than people expected, getting in all these dome shootouts. I mean, that's a small thing, but like getting to play every game in the dome versus having to play outdoors in Chicago for half of your games. I mean, like that stuff, those are small little things, but they do add up as far as when you're telling yourself the story of Caleb Williams potentially putting up a 30-point game when it matters the most. That's kind of the lens of how I'm thinking through it. All right, if we are just going to be a stack slappy, who am I to welcome Joshua Palmer to this team and to show Zay Jones the door? If you're gonna be a stack slappy, you commit to the bit. And we'll take Tyler Algier on this team too. We didn't get him last. All right, we will take Tyler Algier, give us another running back here, and then we will continue with the mid wide receivers who happen to be stacked. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Ingram now with Lawrence. And then Joshua Palmer and me wish casting Malik Nabers with Justin Herbert. Yeah, people talking about some dynasty stuff in Superflex. Yeah, I have the 1-3 in one of my Superflex drafts, and I will be devastated if I don't get one of Nabers or Harrison, which is such a weird thing to say. And it's partly because I have a good quarterback room on that team, so I don't really need a quarterback in that spot. But I just think it is so hard. You think about, and I get it, it's super flex too. It's hard to find, the Josh Allens and the Jalen Hurts, but I feel like those type of game-changing quarterbacks in Dynasty Superflex will come from odd areas, right? Like Josh Allen wasn't the stone cold 101. Jalen Hurts was not the stone cold 101. Patrick Mahomes wasn't the stone cold 101. Neither was CJ Stroud. Whereas when you hit on, the Jamar Chases, the CeeDee Lambs, the Nabers, the Harrison, like those guys, you generally have to pay a premium for right away. There are exceptions. Justin Jefferson was going 1.7, 1.8, 1.9 his rookie year. It's not a hard and fast rule, but I just feel so much better about the projection and career forecast 4 wide receivers who are going to go top 5, top 6 in the NFL draft than I do the quarterbacks, where we just see an insane bust rate every single year. Like if you were to tell people a year ago right now, what would happen to Bryce Young, their eyes would fall out of their head as if they stared at the eclipse without glasses on. They would not have believed it. And I'm not saying Caleb Williams is on Bryce Young trajectory, but I'm just saying we collectively are not good at prospecting and forecasting quarterbacks. And I feel very good about Nabers and Harrison. How many QBs through 14 rounds is too many? Asking for people in this draft room. I guess I hadn't noticed this dynamic. Let's see here. What do we have? Spags is at 2. Not you. Chad's at 2. So everyone that I know, but then what is it? The backside of the board. Okay. Goff, Watson, Baker. Yeah, that seems... Oh, there's just one. Who else? Snatch catchers. Where are these? Okay, yeah. Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Caleb Williams. Not great. Brian's good. Who's the third? J-Stress? Yeah. And then Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, Stafford. Yeah, we saw that. That was the run I was talking about. After I took Herbert, this run in here chewed up a lot of them. Rondo says Bryce didn't have weapons like Caleb will. Yeah, but that has nothing to do with a quarterback not hitting their or not being good just as a prospect, right? Like Bryce Young if you swapped Bryce Young and CJ Stroud would have had a better rookie year because the talent gap is just so big. Obviously that stuff matters, but there's not a single team that would take Bryce Young over CJ Stroud, and he was consensus top pick over him. That's the point. It's just that it's very hard to know at the top. All right, let's see here. We could do a Khalil Herbert on this one. We already have. We've been doing a lot of talk about the Bears. We already have DJ Moore. I like adding someone else there. Let's see. Could grab my guy Jalen McMillan for the millionth time. Let's see, this is the 17th pick. Doing pretty good at running back. I think we need some more upside at wide receiver. Yeah, let's do Jalen McMillan here. We don't have any other rookie wide receivers other than Nabers. So we're now up to a 2-5-8-2 build. We have Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert at quarterback, CMC, Brian Robinson, Jaleel McLaughlin, Tyler Algier, and Khalil Herbert. No rookie running backs. How sad. Wide receivers, DJ Moore, Malik Nabers, Christian Kirk, Jordan Addison, Mike Williams, Joshua Palmer, Zay Jones, and Jalen McMillan. Tight end, Mark Andrews, and Evan Ingram. I feel like this is a solid team. Definitely not a sexy team. Not a lot of sexiness after the Malik Nabers pick, but we have been getting our stacks. I hope Worthy goes to Buffalo. That would be amazing for fantasy. Yeah. I think, I do really think Worthy is my favorite wide receiver click for a lot of reasons, rookie wide receiver click. But the biggest is that I think he has the chance to jump the most. And this is the exercise I did in the perfect landing spot video over on the Deposit Kingdom channel. If you guys missed that, and trying to see who can really jump the most. Like Rome can only move up like a handful of slots. He's already going in the late 4th. Even if he goes to a really clean landing spot, I projected him to the Jags as like a dream landing spot, but he can't move up much further. Same with Brian Thomas. But a guy like Xavier Worthy, if he goes somewhere in the back end of the first round, let's say anywhere from picks 20 to 32, he's going to be going somewhere with a good quarterback. Like if he goes to Dallas or Buffalo or even Detroit or the Chiefs, like he is going to jump pretty significantly. And that's why he's kind of a tantalizing click for me, because I don't know how many other players have both the prospect profile and pedigree, but also the chance to really land an awesome spot. That's not to say, like if Ladd McConkey went to the Chiefs, right? Ladd's moving up. he's moving up, but he's not making like a 5 or 6 round jump because he's just not as exciting as a prospect as Xavier Worthy is. Yeah, Ben Bauer. Worthy definitely has a potential ADP rocket. I think AD Mitchell to a lesser extent. I think if AD Mitchell goes, in my video, I did AD Mitchell to the Cowboys. I think I had him jumping a good 3 rounds. People would start stacking up Dak Prescott with AD Mitchell was what I thought here. Yeah, round 7, Dak goes. See a lot of like Dak 80 Dak type stacks. But wide receiver, like in the 5th round, after like Zay and Amari come off the board, they went a little late in this draft. In this Jaden Reed, Terry McLaurin, like there's room for a rookie rocket here. It could just be Brian Thomas moving up around, but that's what I mean. Like, I don't know how Brian Thomas moves a ton more. I guess it has to be the Bills, right? Because the Bills have such a massive void at wide receiver. You could see Brian Thomas move up a couple rounds. I guess I could see that. But man, things could be bad for Brian Thomas too, right? Like if he were to go to a team like Carolina or, say the Patriots trade back and select a guy like Brian Thomas, then like you don't feel good with his profile at that cost. Whereas like, let's say Xavier Worthy goes to Carolina. What does he drop from where he's at now? Like a round, maybe a round or 2. Like, are people really not selecting Xavier Worthy at pick 120 on the Panthers? I doubt it. All right. What are we going to do here? Need more running backs and wide receivers. This might be some scroll down time. Let's scroll down here. Let me just make sure. Is there anything else I wanted to do? I think you could make the case for like a 3rd quarterback here, but like there's literally nothing. The case would have to be if there was someone vaguely interesting, and there absolutely is not. So I think we're just going to scroll down. Let's do Jamari Thrash, a guy who has a late ADP there. Let's do... Man, are there any rookies here? Man, I'm going to have to do the gross thing. I have to do my correlation here. We're going to take Tank Bigsby. Not a single rookie running back with a pulse left. I guess I could do a really deep flyer. I've seen a little love for Kamani Vidal lately. My guy Dylan Laube is already gone. I know JJ's been talking up Isaiah Davis lately. So maybe we can do a really fringe guy late. You definitely have lots of bullets to play with at running back and wide receiver. My second draft here, just using 2 bullets at quarterback and 2 bullets at tight end, freeing up 16 total spots for running backs and wide receivers. Yeah, Stefan says, I think even if you're making a Dolphins, Lions, 49ers stack, you need to be drafting Tua, Goff, and Purdy as if they're going to be top 3 at the position, and then there's no reason to ever draft a 3. I guess I wouldn't put a super hard and fast rule on it. I do pretty much fully agree with you. I guess my exceptions would be twofold. One, there was a quarterback with some running upside who fell a ton past ADP. The problem is that's kind of a straw man because there's not a ton of options like that. I think the candidates would be, say if you have the Purdy, the Tua, or the Goff stack that you mentioned, if Drake May or Jaden Daniels really fell, tacking them on as a 3rd quarterback cheap, I think would make sense, where you're basically saying, these guys are giving me a high floor production. Can I find a player who's capable of putting up a 30-point spike week? And then after that, it's basically what? Daniel Jones, maybe. There just isn't a lot of running upside quarterbacks late. So I do think I agree with you. It takes a relatively unique case to find a guy. I guess Justin Fields would honestly be the other one. If Justin Fields had a more palatable ADP. Like Justin Fields in the 3rd round, say you had George Pickens and you're like, Tua and Goff are going to just give me 20 to 25 point weeks. How do I happen to sneak in a 30-point burger here? Maybe Justin Fields in week 17 gets that done. That's kind of where my thought process would be. But yeah, it's just interesting with the 20 rounds. You do really have some extra room to maneuver. Wow, I have not even heard of the player that Brian Schultz is touting. And by the way, that 3-year badge, Brian, looking nice. The gold 3 is popping there. Jaheim, is that really his name? Jaheim Bell is the last round pick we all need. You heard it here first. He's a tight end. Wow, I have not heard about this guy. Who is this guy, Brian? Where did you unearth him? Ooh, we got my guy Tom talking about him. All right, I'm starting to see the buzz. Notable tight end prospects overall versus slot yards per route run. Jaheim Bell pops on some of these charts. It looks like Scott Barrett was talking about him. Okay, all right. Someone connecting the dots of him to the Niners. All right, I see you. Yeah, speaking of tight ends, over on Fantasy Life today, Dwayne McFarland has his rookie tight end supermodel. I'm going to go take a peek at that after I make this final selection here. Let's see. Let's do Iasovis. Haven't drafted him in a hot minute. Do a little Iasovis here. I'll recap this team in a sec, but I wanted to shout out Dwayne's tight end supermodel. He had his rookie wide receiver model that launched last week or so, and now he has the tight end. He started out with the tier 3 rookie tight ends. I'm super excited to see this here, and I believe the full table for the rookie tight ends will be going live here. But he talked about Theo Johnson, Cade Stover, Ben Sinnott in today's edition, Eric All. I will drop the link here, but be sure to check out, it's the tight end supermodel over up on Fantasy Life. And I believe they're getting the full table up here soon. Let me actually go see if that's up yet, because now I'm curious. There's the wide receiver, and I believe... All right, sweet. Yeah, this is live now. I will toss this in the chat, the full rookie tight end model here. You can tell it is a very top-heavy class. Dwayne's model incorporates projected draft capital. So you can see here, like Brock Bowers. Let me zoom this a little bit for you guys. Brock Bowers does come in with a projected draft slot of 10. He has an 83% model score. And then you're down to Jatavian Sanders, Theo Johnson. There's our guy, Jaheim Bell, though, who we were just talking about. He's at 22% with a pretty late draft slot, 166. And then the other thing I like about the update to the model is you can compare it by going all and looking at the top prospects over, the past 6 years? Yeah, back to 2018. So you can see here, Kyle Pitts clocking in with a higher model score than Brock Bowers. Kyle Pitts comes in with 100% model score, and his Brock Bowers at 83%, sandwiched in between Pitts and Hawkinson is Brock. Then you see Noah Fant, Michael Mayer, Dalton Kincaid. So yeah, not a ton of depth in this 2024 class, but hopefully we get some fun landing spots for Jatavian Sanders, Theo Johnson. Theo Johnson was the super athletic guy, but just probably not going to have the draft capital we hope for here. Yes, very, very, very top heavy supermodel there for the tight ends. So check that out. Dwayne's going to have write-ups on all of those tiers. Today published the tier 3, and he should have more of those coming in the coming weeks. Sweet. Fun drafting with you guys today on Best Ball Breakfast. Make sure you guys check out the little board if you guys didn't see that. I believe that was dropping yesterday. Let me get that up here for a hot sec. 56,000 entrants, only $3 and a 20 max there. So you can check that out. 15,000 to first. Looks like a pretty smooth payout structure here. So if you're looking to get some reps in, you can do so over in the little board. And if for some reason you are new, if you haven't hopped into the waters, you can always use promo code Pete for a $100 deposit match over at Underdog Fantasy. And yeah, I'm going to go actually start working on that video for this week, looking at the most polarizing players in fantasy based on ADP and those ranking sets. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the Deposit Kingdom channel so you don't miss that video when it drops later this week. Hope you guys all enjoy the eclipse. Put your glasses on. Make sure that you are not blinded so you can continue to draft with us throughout Hot Best Ball Summer. All right, until next time, this has been Best Ball Breakfast. Peace.